Greetings, traveler. People often say that game studios are like tech startups, since they work a lot with code, engineers, technology, and so on. However, that's not the case. Today, we're going to look at 3 ways how game studios are different from tech startups, and we're going to also reveal why this is actually a good thing, so stick around until the end for that. If you don't know who I am, my name is Xanthos, and I've been working in the games industry for the past decade or so. So this podcast is my attempt of sharing everything I know with you. And if you're someone who's walking the path of making video games, this one is for you. So let's begin. Let's just jump in and look at the first way how game studios are different from tech startups. Well, first of all, what exactly is a tech startup? Let's define the term to have a clearer scope of this conversation. So, a tech startup is typically a company that has a very single focus on a solution they want to provide the world with for a given problem. So, for example, improving people's health by creating an app that monitors your heart rate together with some gadget and so on, and warning you if something's wrong with your body. That is a very specific problem they're trying to solve. So the aim of the company is to develop the solution and find a way to market it, monetize it, and eventually make it into a big company or exit and so on. So the first way game studios differ from all this is that game studios don't try to solve a problem in that sense. Typically, there is more of an opportunity in the market where they want to capitalize for a lack of a specific type of RPG game or race game, or maybe a big sports event is coming up like the Mundial or the Olympics and so on, and people want to create a game to use and ride on that hype to make money. So the approach is very different. This is the first way. The second way game studios are different from tech startups is that the scope is rather different between a game and a tech app. So from the example before, the scope of the tech app is basically to warn you if there's a health issue with your body. It's very specific, and it's kind of easy to check whether this is fulfilling its role, yes or no. For games, development is usually open-ended. You have a direction, at best, if you're starting on a game of what you want the game to look like eventually, but there is no clear path to developing the levels, the characters, the gameplay, the experience the user is going to have with it. It's much more obscured, especially at the beginning of the process. And it's even more difficult to think about timelines, which is actually the third way studios are different. So when we're thinking about timelines, when you have a specific problem you want to solve with this tech app, it's easy to say, well, this is our problem, this is how we think we're going to solve it based on the estimates we have. This is how long it should take. And this gives people a very clear idea of what's to be done in the scope of this project. But for games, as we know, development can be very unpredictable. Sometimes when you think that one feature is going to improve the quality of your game, it doesn't, or it opens so many good possibilities for your game where it would be a bad decision maybe to stop at that point and not explore all these possibilities. So with game studios, you never really know when exactly your release date is going to be. The only way you can know for sure is, let's say, if the studio has a certain budget for the game and that budget is going to run out at a certain date based on the current projections. That's the only case where you really know when the release date should be, or at least what your general timeline is. So why is it a good thing that game companies and game studios are not tech startups? Well, if you think about what the most tech startups are trying to achieve, what the dream goal of them is to develop this product that they think is going to be helpful to the world. And typically they start with a very, very small team, maybe less than 10 people. Usually there is some sort of outside investment, and they want to get the company to a good enough level and the product to a good enough level where it functions, people know about it, people have used it and have gotten good results with it, and the business model that they have developed for their product is working, and it's making them more and more money as time goes on. And from that point on, the company begins to expand and to get more and more profits and turn into one of the big companies that we know around us, maybe something like Autodesk, or I don't know, some big health company or whatever. So at that point, it's no longer a startup, and it's considered just a normal tech company. And when these companies reach that critical mass, then the founder or founders have a decision to make. Do they keep working in the company and keep making it bigger, or do they, as we say, exit? And exit just means sell the company or sell their chunk of the company that they own, maybe 10, 20, 30%, whatever, exchange it for money, and stop being involved in the day-to-day of the business. This is a dream goal because it's, for some people, a way to get rich fast, in huge quotes, and a huge grain of salt to go together with that. So for an effort that's, I don't know, perhaps less than 5, maybe 3, maybe 1 year, they can get a product that's very loved, very well received by people. The company can get lots of money, and they can exit and sell out and their position and get a lot of money, and then they don't have to worry about money for the rest of their lives. That is the dream. In game companies, typically that's not the case. I don't know many people who want to get rich quickly and decided making a game is the way to do that. At least none that used any legal means. So yeah, I don't know if that's a viable thing. Typically people who make games want to do it for the love of the art, because they know how much games have affected their lives. They love the challenge, and they want to spread this feeling of playing a game, exploring something new, challenging yourself with as many people as possible. And if that generates money in the long term, then that just gives them the ability to keep doing it in the future as well. So at this point, you might wonder, well, what about investment in game companies, and couldn't game companies do the same thing? That is an excellent question, and it's going to be the topic of the next video. So if you're interested in that, make sure to check that out as well. So to bring that all together, game companies are not like tech startups because the scope is different, the product is quite different, the development method is more arduous and more unclear in the beginning. And typically people who want to create games are not aiming for a quick exit from the company. They're not aiming to sell the company. Instead, they want to stay in the gaming business and make wonderful games as long as possible. So that's it for today. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions on this topic, or if there's something else you'd like me to cover around game development and games, please let me know. Otherwise, have fun.